Hey guys, Joey here, back with another video. Today guys, I'll be showing you how to mount a deauthorization attack using the ESP8266 chip. As you can see here, it's a Wi-Fi chip, and I actually already have it on top of a development board, which I'll have a link to in the description. Now my development board has a micro USB port, as you can see there, so you're also going to need whichever cable corresponds with the connector that you have. So obviously I need a micro USB port. Now, keeping in mind before we get into this can really fuck with people, and I'll go over actually what a deauthorization attack is and how exactly does it work at the end of the video, so that's something to look forward to. But heavily illegal if you're doing this to a third-party server. Everything that I do in this video will be done to my own Wi-Fi network. And yeah, don't recommend doing this at school, and I'm not responsible for anything that you guys decide to do with this tool. I'm calling it a tool very generously. In reality, you are mounting a hacking attack. But yeah, relatively easy to set up and relatively inexpensive, only about 10 bucks to get the complete setup. Anyway, let's move on to setting this up. So first you're gonna need to plug it into your computer, so let's get started. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this, but before we do so, I'd like to say that all these links will be in the description, as well as the GitHub page of the original creator, so you can follow the written instructions that he has laid out for you if this process does not work. Anyway, let's go ahead down to the download section. Now we're going to be using version 1.2, and these different files, these different bin files, all correspond with different sizes of flash on your development board. So it really kind of depends on which board you're using. Now, I know I'm using the 4 megabyte bin file, so I'm going to go ahead and download that. But you might need to do some trial and error, or use a tool that will allow you to check what the flash is. I know you can do that with Arduino. It's up to you guys. Typically, they're labeled in terms of what size they are, but yes. So moving on to the next link, which is the actual flash, which we need to take this bin file and flash it onto the flash. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the 64-bit version because I have a 64-bit computer. Obviously get the 32-bit if you have a 32-bit computer. So yes, let's go ahead and download that. Okay guys, now that we have everything installed, we're going to need to go to Device Manager to check what the COM port is for our module. Now we're going to go down to ports, and as you can see, it is COM port 3 right there. A good way to check which COM port it is, if you have a ton of them, is by simply unplugging the device, check which one disappeared, and then plugging one back in and see if it reappeared. Then obviously that is what the COM port is. Now moving on to actually doing this, now that we know that it's COM port 3, we can open the flash tool, as you see here, and it actually already set itself to COM port 3, but we might need to set it by hand if you must. So as you can see, it's set on COM port 3, so it's going to be sending this information to the correct location. You're going to need to go to configuration and hit this gear, I would call it, and then go to the bin file and select the bin file that we downloaded. Next, you need to go to advanced. The baud rate, the default is okay. The flash size should be 4 megabytes or whichever size flash you have. It just depends on which size flash you're using. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm using 4 megabytes. Moving on to flash speed. Flash speed should be 80 megahertz per second. And then you're also just not going to do anything with SPI mode. Okay, so going back to operation, just press flash and it will start flashing the module. It took my PC about a minute to complete this process. Time may vary for you, but now everything is set up. Using this module is relatively simple. All you must do is plug it into some sort of power source, whether that be a laptop, a desktop, or your phone even, and then go to the network selecting menu and select the network pwned. I'm going to go ahead and select it here, and you will connect to the module. Once connected to the module, you're going to need to go to an IP address. So I think I'm connected. Yes, I am connected to the network. and if you do not go in there smoothly, you should be prompted with a password, and the password is DeAuth, obviously standing for deauthorization. So DEAUTH is the password. And then you're going to want to go to your web browser and enter this IP address, which is simply 192.168.4.1. And by the way, everyone, this step can be completely done on your cell phone. Well, your smartphone, not your cell phone. And yeah, so that's a cool feature. Not even a feature, just a cool thing to keep in mind if you want to use this device. So you're going to need to scan your network, and you should find your networks that are all around you. Now, I'm going to be using my home network, and in a future video, I'm actually going to be going over how to change the name and password of your network, and this will help protect against drive-by attacks. So I'm going to go ahead and select my home network. I selected there, and then I'm going to move on to attack. Now, there's multiple different types of attacks you can mount. The main one being a deauthorization attack, obviously, but you can also stream a ton of SSIDs into the networks. So what that means is that overall, as you can see, I just created 64 random SSIDs, and all these will be picked up as networks. Now, they're not real networks, but you will be able to confuse a lot of people, especially if you have all these networks set to the same exact name as the original, which will really screw with people. I mean, imagine going to school and having 64 extra Wi-Fi names that don't make any sense. Imagine going through all of these on your cell phone or anything. Very frustrating. Not something I recommend doing at school, obviously, but at the same time, it's kind of a funny joke if you're playing it on your friends. Anyway, moving on, I'm actually going to show you to only mount the DeAuth attack. All these are relatively simple. You just do the same method, but you need to add, obviously, SSIDs down here to use the bottom two. Now, we're going to press start, and that's just going to start the DeAuth attack. It's that simple. As you can see, the DeAuth attack is in place, and I say DeAuth, it's a deauthorization attack, obviously. And yes, that's about it for how to actually mount the attack in terms of software. Alright everyone, this is my laptop, and as you can see, it says that I'm connected to my home network right here. But see, when I try to connect to youtube.com, it will simply load forever. Now I'll explain why it will just continue to load forever in a second when I explain what exactly a deauthorization attack is. But overall, it's a successful attack on my network. Okay, so what is a deauthorization attack? A deauthorization attack is actually not that complicated. It's a type of DOS attack, or denial of service attack. All these attacks' goal are to deny service. Big surprise, right? But a deauthorization attack does this by pretending to be the router. Essentially what it does is says, hey, send all your packets to me, and packets are bits of information. And it sends all this information to this little module, this little Wi-Fi module, instead of sending it to the router. And that's why you end up with that eternal loading screen where you're just waiting and waiting, because it's still waiting for the return even though it's not getting any. So this is a great method to kick everyone off the network because, well, no one's going to be sending information to the router if they're trying to all send it to this buddy here. So yeah, that's essentially what it does. Now, a key feature that I forgot to mention in the video, and yeah, I kind of lied to you, when you're setting this up, you don't need to plug it into your computer when you're going to connect to it. You don't need to plug into your laptop. You don't need to plug into anything because this can run on battery. When we were communicating with it on the browser, when we were telling it to mount the attack, we were connecting to it through the network, not through the cable here. So overall, I could have this set up here where I just plug this micro USB into this module, plug it into this battery bank here, turn it on, and I could go onto that, log into the network, and then go to my browser, type in the IP address, and connect to it and mount the attack from there. Now, what I plan on doing with that, I plan on building a module that you can use at school, or not necessarily at school because, well, obviously I'm not taking this to school because, see, that'd be a stupid idea, right guys? Yes. I am not responsible for anything you guys do with this tool, but overall, what you can do is that I'm going to build some sort of module where you can control it with a button, and you'll be able to take it to school, and okay, I just gotta stop saying school. You can take it somewhere, press the button, and it will mount the attack, or maybe even connect to it through some sort of Raspberry Pi or some sort of controlling device will probably be needed, but we'll figure that out in the next video. Overall, that's what I plan on doing with the system, is connecting it to some sort of battery. I'm not actually going to be using a battery bank because, well, these are relatively expensive, considering you could build one pretty reasonably cheap. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll also do a video on how to defend against these if you'd like that. It's actually not that complicated to actually defend against attacks, against like the authorization attacks. But most networks are not pre-set up to do this, which is something to keep in mind. Obviously, mine was not pre-set up, but of course at the same time, I still have the default password, and I still have the default username, or not username, default name, which I plan on actually showing you how to fix, which I'll go over that in another video. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like the video. Hopefully, I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.